Oh,
Now then.
is it here with you?
I believe so. Hello, everybody. Great to be here. It's impossible to follow an astronaut. You know, we just had an astronaut up on this stage. I don't know how we're going to manage it.
Astronaut, my God.
What can we talk about? That
I
can
don't
follow
know.
up
I don't
how
know.
do you top that?
We didn't go to the moon, huh?
No. But I guess there were a lot of technology and innovation and creativity involved in doing that. So my name's Jeremy Wilks. I'm a producer for Euronews. I make a program called Space, all about space, interviewing people like astronauts. So check it out online. But obviously, you're going to listen to us. And we're going to talk about creativity and using technology to go towards creativity with Michel, who's the CEO of Altis. First thing to do, tell us a little bit about your company. If the people here aren't familiar with you, what is your company? What do you do?
Well, first of all, good morning to all of you. A pleasure to be there. That's so exciting to be in, let's say, in this forum. I guess that maybe everyone doesn't know us, but at least our name should become to be known, as, let's say, most of the forum is branded Altis.
It is.
So, which means that I expect that, let's say, you have seen the name. We are basically a telecommunication, media, and advertising company, a kind of startup with 50,000 people. So it's, let's say, it's a startup which
relatively young, right? It started in 2000.
Let's say we started 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But the acceleration was just in the past 3 years.
Yep.
And of course, in Portugal, we do own PT, which is one of our core assets in Europe. But we are based in Europe and in the
Quickly
US.
give me a run through of some of the brand names that you have, because people will be more familiar with those, perhaps.
The brand names that we have in Portugal is Mio, as let's say our commercial name, and the company is Portugal Telecom. But in France, we are known as SFR.
Yep.
In the US, we have cable operations. So we have different names. And at the end of the day, we decided to embrace one unique brand in order really to convey what we are about to deliver, which is a convergence in between telecommunications, media. We acquired lots of media assets, as well as advertising.
Yeah, because you create content as well as owning, as well as owning the tubes. You make the water that flows through it. Talk to me about how technology enhances creativity. If I say to you, just what's the first thing that comes into your head? How does technology enhance creativity?
Well, first, our company is all about technology. I mean, we are in these, let's say, three areas: telecommunications, media, and advertising, which are entering in a very disruptive world. And in order to compete against most of the other players, you need to innovate. So that's the art of the proposal of the company, which is how can we innovate in order to unlock new type of services, new type of features. And of course, we are going to do it inside the company. We have our own labs. Let's say most of them are based in Portugal, so that's why I'm so proud to be in Portugal. But we have also a very open ecosystem with all the startups around. Have in mind that, for example, Altis, through PT, invented, it was a technology, probably 20 years ago or even more, the, let's say, prepay market. So that was a technology in order to deliver prepay services in mobile, and we unlock a complete new usage of mobility and mobile services. Without prepay, most likely it would have never proliferated in the way it has in most of the countries, not in all the countries.
Tell me about how that was invented, because that has been very successful.
So it came from, let's say, the labs, so from the PT labs at this stage. And then from this technology, of course, let's say, they thought, because I was not part of the company at that stage, they thought about the new models or the new, let's say, the new services that we might be able to unlock. So I took this example, which is very far away, but of course that's what we are doing every day. Let's take the example of advertising. Advertising is a very interesting piece of business. We have a small company called Altice that we acquired last year, which is the world leader in terms of digital video advertising. You know, when you go through, let's say, a website and pop up, let's say, a video in order to advertise something. And so that's a way to completely reinvent the advertising proposition, not only for the brands, not only for the publishers, but also for the customers, meaning for the ones which are going to view the advertising. Because you want the advertising to be much more interactive. So that's not only a video, but you can have an interaction. We can have even a voice interaction with the advertising. So much less intrusive, much better prepared in the environment. And so that's a complete new business, which was not a business of our company until last year. and we will do this year 1 billion of revenue in digital advertising, and I'm pretty sure that it will be a multi-billion revenue stream in the next coming years. So that's a second.
You've got a big company, and an awful lot of people, I guess, have got creative ideas within your organization. How do you handle the flow of ideas? If I come to you and I'm an employee of your company, you're the big boss, can I just come up to you and pitch you, well, I've got a great idea for how we can do something involving content or something for advertising? How do you manage that flow?
So a real specificity of my company is that we are a very entrepreneurial company, which has been founded by two guys, one Portuguese and one French, which founded the company 15 years ago, and which is now a multi-billion company, a 70 billion market cap, so a real big one. But they have still this entrepreneurial DNA, which means that we are risk takers, we like to take risks, we like to embrace innovation, we like to be disruptive, we like to encourage people to come with some new ideas and to disrupt what we're doing. So what we always say is that you can always do mistakes, but never do twice the same mistake. And we have people within the company which have tried 2, 3, or 4 times to come with a new idea. Sometimes it has worked, sometimes it has not worked. And the way we do, either we help people inside the company to promote their own ideas. Second, we have acquired lots of startups, and we have provided them with a real strong environment to grow. As we are all entrepreneurs, I mean, my management team is made of entrepreneurs, people which have sold their company to us, which is quite unusual because they have this DNA and this mindset. So in order to help the others to create, so either internally or externally, and let's say we encourage all the relations that we can have with the external world. There is no recipe to win, there is no magic there. You need to, let's say, create an open ecosystem. We're established in Europe, but also in Israel, in Tel Aviv, where there is a lot of, let's say, startups, as you know. We're also installed in the US, where we have a big presence. We are the 4th cable operator in the country. So which means that we are an attractive company. We can bring connectivity, we can bring support. We are hosting...
Talk me through how it is you take a new idea and move it through to something that's market ready. What are the key stages and how fast is that process?
Well, let's say we are just reinventing our user experience from a video perspective, meaning the way you consume video and the way you are going to interact with video, whether it's on your TV or whether it's on your PC, tablet, or whatever. So the way it works is that we start from the labs, and we have created our own labs in terms of experience, where we bring different type of mindsets, technology, but not only technology, because as you know, innovation doesn't come only from technology. You need also to have user-friendly experience, you need to have marketers, you need to have all those...
So you kind of have brainstorming sessions together?
So you put all those people together, creating a transversal approach, no silo, whatever. Yeah. So just a real team, one team under one roof.
How big would the team be for that?
The team would be probably 20, 25 people under one roof. Let's say thinking global to start with. So we don't create just for one country. We create for the different countries in which we do operate. So starting their product, interacting with us and with the management board of the company and with all the entrepreneurs that I have, let's say, on the board. Then when we start to have something, of course, testing it with the employees, let's say in parallel working on the business case. But if you start by the business case, usually you don't innovate. Yep. So you start first by the innovation, and then you try to think about, okay, what I am going to really unlock in terms of value proposition. Then you test it, and then let's say you industrialize your solution.
And how long does that take, that process?
It depends on the service that, let's say, you're going to launch, but it might take in between 6 months to 2 years, depending on really the depth of the new product that you are going to launch. So we are entering a complete new area for us, which is financial services. So you probably know that, let's say, there is a lot of creativity in this field, and so we have just been awarded a European license for banking services, financial services. And so we intend to reinvent a little bit the financial proposition. So we'll start that in France in 2018, so next year. And so we are reinventing the way you can interact. So how can you do all your financial operations from your smartphone, from enrollment to
and
all the financial
did the
operations.
initiative for that come from one of the startups that you
No,
bought?
it came from one of the entrepreneurs within the company that we acquired the company from. He was not at all in this field, but let's say we acquired the company and he told me, you know what, I wish now to create a new business. And he had been extremely successful in the way he created the first one. So I said, okay. And he said, okay, I am going to create a banking business. So I said, okay, we started 18 months ago. We have a platform in Luxembourg because we want to operate on a, let's say, global basis. And he has now a team of 30 people. I have not seen yet any piece of revenue, so I start to be a little bit demanding. But nevertheless, I guess that will come with, let's say, a strong proposition. So that just to give you an idea of a new business that we are creating, which is slightly aside what we have done. Another example, we just acquired the rights of champions for the ones which like soccer, the Soccer Champions League in Europe. So for France, big investment, 1 billion. So we just acquired those rights, and now it's all about creating new experience. So meaning from the device that we are going to provide up to the way you are going to interact, social interactions with the programs.
So you're bringing VR into that?
VR, of course, which is one of the stuff that we have, let's say, developed in Portugal.
Yeah.
And so we're going to leverage some of the technologies which are coming from our labs in Portugal in order to, let's say, propel this new experience around sport. And I guess that we can reinvent the way people are watching sports.
Let's go back to the initial question, which is all about how technology enhances creativity. Taking a very simple reading of it, technology and creativity are kind of opposing things. Technology is something very reasoned, it is something that's very organized. Creativity involves a level of improvisation, involves a level of kind of creating kind of a dream. How do you marry those two together? Do you think that creativity can be kind of taught to people? How do you bring together the kind of chaos of creativity with something technological steps?
Well, I guess that, that technology in our field is clearly an enabler of creativity. When you look at the big success in the tech industry, that came from technology at the beginning, and that really came from tech people. But then, which were able to put together people with a more rational background, the tech guys, with some more creative people coming more from the marketing, let's say, side of the business. And I guess that all is the way you can really make those people interacting.
Do you literally put them in the same room? And
yeah, that's what I was telling you under, when I spoke about the concept of the one roof. You take people from the different divisions of the group, you put everyone, you just do one plateau, as we say, and you just ask those people to work all together. So that's the way it works. But you cannot, let's say, you have also to remain extremely open to creativity, because people can come with a new idea, and you have to listen. I mean, what is the most difficult for the CEO of a company is really when those ideas are coming, to pay attention to those, to spend a little bit of time to try to understand, and to let freedom to people in order to really be able to do what they aim to do.
Because you've built a big business, obviously there must be a desire to continue to be a big business, and so again, there's a kind of a conflict there between the agility of creativity and people working on new ideas and a big company that is already got a lot of things in place. You've built the networks, you've made things happen. I'm interested in whether you've got a limit on the number of creative ideas that you can bring into your company over a given amount of time. Whether you say, okay, well, we've had 5 good ideas and we're going to just work on those, or are you always taking in new things?
So first, I guess that big companies, and I'm sure that let's say there are people around this room, can be agile. So that's a false idea that big companies cannot be agile. You just have to run your company as a startup. And so that's why I told you I have 50,000 employees within the company, but I see us still as a startup, meaning with this DNA of entrepreneurship. So that's the same that what you have, and that's why I remain extremely open to all the startups around to keep this DNA, to keep this spirit, to keep this mindset, to remain extremely excited by those type of ideas. So that's one. That's a mindset, just to make sure that you are going to unlock it in a proper manner and make it work. And I guess that you can be agile. Then, of course, as everywhere, you have to prioritize. So you start with, let's say, a big brush, and you take the ideas which are coming. In the fields we are interested to invest in, telecommunications, media, advertising, and services around, such as the financial services I referred to. And then you start with your big brush. and then you start, let's say, to reduce a little bit, and you are going to make a few bets. You cannot make 20 bets, because you have to allocate resources, financial and human resources. So you have a kind of, let's say, process, just to streamline this brush and to come with 3-4 ideas. You know that probably one will be very successful.
I was going to say, what's your success rate?
One will be very successful, and you will have 1 or 2 which will be, let's say, average, and you will have 1 or 2 which will be rubbish. But let's say that's not a problem.
That's a learning process.
You will have tried, and that will be perfect.
Okay, well, Michel, thank you. I can see that we've run out of time here. Thanks very much. A little round of applause, please, for Michel Combe, CEO of Altis. Thank you, everybody. Off you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.